Hey everyone, my name is Sirat and welcome back to my series Learn to Lead, where I talk to real world leaders and synthesize their life's learning into core traits for becoming a great leader. So far, we've talked about two core traits. Number one is being authentic, and number two is managing perceptions. Happy to report, we've got some great engagement for you guys, and for those of you who haven't checked it out yet, the links are in the description below. Now let's talk about core trait number three, leading with values. And the more I think about this, the more I understand that in order to be a great leader, you have to be a genuinely good person. If I ask you right now to name someone from your life or your organization who you think leads with values, I'm sure a name has already popped up. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you like this person very much and you have high respect for this person and you trust them. And why is that? Because they're genuinely good people. They believe in doing the right thing. They're transparent, they're consistent, and they and everyone know that their values are non-negotiable. And to that end, having great values not only creates great leaders, but also creates great, genuine human beings. Speaking of values, let's check in with Yakut and hear her story about the time she stood up for her values against a fast-talking attorney who was being disrespectful to her colleague.
When I was in audit, one day my audit manager came and he said, hey, I want you to attend this meeting. It's an audit close and it's going to be a difficult conversation, so there's strength in the numbers and I want to add to our audit team. Please come. The audit manager, let's call her Christina, was a very experienced, competent person. She was from Europe, but she spoke English with a Spanish accent because she had grown up in Latin America. She spoke 7 languages. Very smart, competent person. So the meeting started and Christina was explaining to the business manager all the issues that they had identified, and the overall assessment was not favorable to the business. The business manager was an attorney and she was not happy at all. So she was constantly pushing back and interrupting Christina, saying, no, you're wrong, we don't do this, we do that. Finally, the business manager turned to Christina and said, you're not following what I'm saying because English is not your first language. Just like that. There was total silence in the room all of a sudden. Christina, a very calm, cool professional, continued to make her point, saying, no, we looked at what you're bringing up, but it was this, it was that. This time, the attorney turned to the boss, to our boss, and said, raising her voice, she does not understand what I'm saying because this is her second language. I was just like so shocked at what I was witnessing right in front of my eyes. Now, I grew up in a middle-income family in Turkey, but my parents were very rich in instilling in their kids the kind of values that shaped us as good, strong, confident people. Things like decency and dignity and integrity and respect and justice and fairness and empathy. Sometimes we get tested in situations that we've never been tested in before. We don't know how we're going to react. But at times like that, the values that shaped us kick in. So it was no surprise that I literally heard myself say to the attorney, could you please stop your personal attacks? Now the attorney was shocked. She said, I'm not attacking her. I said, listen, English is not my first language either, but I perfectly understand what you're saying. I perfectly understand what Christina is saying. And frankly, I said, I think you really crossed the line and I think your comments are quite offensive. She was just dumbfounded. She looked around. Nobody was saying anything. She got up and walked out. And within a half an hour or so, Christina came into my office. First, she thanked me for standing up for her. And then she said, hey, by the way, the attorney just called and apologized. And that made me feel really, really good inside.
I love Yakut stories. They're so inspirational. But we can't always wait for a Yakut to come save the day. We need to be our own Yakut, especially in a team setting. When you lead with your values, you inspire others to lead with theirs. And And the good news is that leading with values is a very learnable trait. We're not all born with all the values that we want to imbibe, but we can learn the values we admire in other people. I'm going to share with you 2 values that I learned from other people, which have helped me tremendously. The first one is resilience. I got to practice this value a couple months ago when I was placed on furlough. And it was easy to play the blame game or play the victim card, but through meditation, I was able to look at my situation from another lens and gain perspective. So to all those folks who are on furlough or laid off, I urge you to keep the faith in yourself and believe in the kindness in other people. Something will work out. Now, number 2 is collaboration, and I will choose collaboration over competition any day. When in a team setting, I always check my ego in at the door, and that influences others to do the same. Let's go back to Yakut's story where she talks about the lessons learned from leading with values.
Very first lesson is do not ever compromise on your values. Stand up for what's right. Speak up. Don't let the loud voices shape the outcome, because they will have some long-term negative effects on what people think and the right and wrong kind of values. Support the underdog. This is especially true for female professionals who should stand up for their female workers and give them that additional muscle power. And last but not least, support the immigrant who may be intimidated because they have an accent or because they cannot think of the right word at the right time. Bottom line, do the right thing. Stand up for the right values. It may get you a reputation, but it will be a well-deserved and absolutely the right reputation that you want to have next to your name.
Building on Yakut's lessons learned, I'm going to share with you 3 simple strategies to lead with your values. Number 1, dig deep into your story, into your journey. Identify the values that resonate with you. And if you see someone leading with values you admire, learn them and thank them. We best learn from each other. Number 2, consistency is key. Once you identify the values that you want to imbibe, make sure you practice them every day. Number 3, speak up. This one is from my immigrant friends or people of color or basically anyone who finds it difficult to speak up in a social setting. Don't discount your point of view, the world you've lived through, the journey you've been on, the country that has shaped you. Now, more than ever, we need your unique perspective in the conference rooms, on Zoom calls, and in social media. I'm going to share a quick personal story about my father, who is a powerhouse of values. Even today, on day 3 of his major surgery, as he continues to be in the hospital, continues to be in unbearable amount of pain, he's still acting with kindness, compassion, and appreciation for other people. And for those of us who know him, that's just who he is. On the dinner table, in a conference room, on a hospital bed. And that's it from us, folks. We hope you enjoyed this week's content. I'll turn it over to you now. What are some of the values that you hold dear to your heart and values you want to learn? Leave us a comment below and share your story. Until then, be happy, be safe, be you.